Welcome to the Tech Ranch, live and local here on Super Talk 1270. The latest gadgets, online security, websites and apps, social media, and so much more. How can technology help you? Let's find out. It's time for the Tech Ranch on Super Talk 1270.
From our studios in beautiful Mandan, North Dakota, along the mighty Missouri River, here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
So how will self-driving cars impact how you travel in the future? With the first autonomous car completing a cross-country trek. Man, Jim, it's Monday and I can't talk.
Okay.
Had an autonomous car complete a cross-country trek last week. The technology is here and moving forward rapidly. Today we will discuss its impact on you. This is the final part in a series on the future of transportation. And at the control panel, producer extraordinaire, Mr. Jim Walsh.
Hi.
How's it going?
Not too shabby. We had a good time this morning. You were on with me on the morning show.
Yeah.
On our sibling station, Cool 98.7.
That's right. And we were
Go ahead. Talking about the big wingding coming up in May.
Yep. And
the road show.
We'll get into that a little bit later, too. But, yeah, if you want to hear some great announcement about the road show, of course, you called me this morning and said I was in the news. And I'm like, oh, no, what did I do over the weekend? Thinking that it was something bad, of course. But.
Well, we got it from the Associated Press, and they got it, I think, from when the Tribune talked to
you.
Yeah.
Right. So, So we'll be talking about the AVSI Road Show in a little bit, coming to Bismarck, Mandan. That'll be a lot of fun. So I have kind of a thing here from Mercedes and their vision of autonomous cars. So I'm just going to read this to you. Of course, I have wonderful reading skills, so we'll see how this goes. But it's Mercedes-Benz vision of the future in which streets are shared by all and cars politely insist that pedestrians please go first.
Okay.
And even projects a crosswalk onto the pavement in front of them. So the car will actually, say somebody wants to cross the middle of the street or something, it'll actually project a crosswalk so that they have a place to walk across. It is a place where the only accessible materials are stainless steel, white leather, carbon fiber, and wood. Automotive fatalities are but a memory. Cars are brilliant, both in their intelligence and luster. They look like bars of soap sent back from the next century, even if Mercedes insists they don't. Inside, humans face each other and chat like civilized beings or stare at their phones like human beings too, that type of thing. So you won't even be... Mercedes' vision of autonomous cars is that you're not even looking out the front windshield. You're turned around looking back at the person, kind of like in a train car or something like that, where you're looking at the other people that are in your car, and it just takes you to the place you want to go.
Just sitting there reading a magazine or
whatever you want to do. So what do you think of that vision?
People still read magazines?
Well, they read their tablets, I suppose.
Right, okay.
Yeah. I still, not to get off topic here, but I actually like getting a magazine. How about you?
Me too, yeah.
I miss those days, actually.
I miss books. I mean, I have books.
Right.
I have my Kindle thing on my Droid, but there's really nothing like having a book in your hands.
So do you read a lot on your Kindle or on your phone with the Kindle app?
Not as much as I thought I would, only because it's just kind of hard for me to really maintain my attention span.
Yep. But as far as so you are like me then. I mean, you really like that book experience.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, cool. I miss the days, too, of I miss the magazines coming in the mail and stuff. But, at the same time, it's nice to be able to catch up an article or two online. But anyway, so that is the story behind having an autonomous or a vision for an autonomous vehicle.
Story behind the story.
That's right. So basically, over the last 9 days, and I think it was last Thursday or Friday, so the car that I drove in Las Vegas, or rode in Las Vegas, the autonomous car
in Vegas, baby,
by Delphi. And I think, in fact, you and I talked about that a little bit. I'm not sure where we're getting that feedback from here.
Okay, everybody turn down your speakers here.
That's right, yeah. So we drove in this car through the streets of Las Vegas, this Delphi car. Basically, Delphi is an automotive supplier of parts for automotive companies.
Oh, I've heard of them.
Oh,
sure.
yeah. I mean, I think they make stereos and things like that, too. But they're really a leader in the development of technologies for autonomous vehicles. And they've been aggressively going after these sensor beds and the cameras and that type of thing that go into these cars. So they outfitted this Audi. And, we drove through the streets of Las Vegas a couple months ago with this. And then this car, about 12 days ago, left California and drove to New York.
Yeah, I got a picture right here.
Yeah, it's sitting there in front of the new World Trade Center, isn't it?
And it just looks like a regular car from the picture.
Well, it is. It's a regular Audi. I mean, if it didn't have the thing decaled stating that it was a self-driving car, you wouldn't even know the difference. I mean, there's nothing on that car. There's no liner across the top. There's that little radar thing that spins, that's on the top of it or whatever, on this car. So you would never know. It drove 99% of the time autonomously. It was fun listening or looking at the post. I guess you don't listen to Twitter, but looking at the post on Twitter about people when they seen this car driving on the road, and people were tweeting in about that it's at the In-N-Out Burger place, and people were getting kind of a kick out of that. But it really is something. And the engineer that I actually rode in the car with, Serge is his name, actually texted me on Thursday stating that they had arrived in New York. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. And now it's just becoming huge news in the last couple of days.
From coast to coast.
Coast to coast, 3,500 miles.
Whoa.
So if you didn't think this technology was possible, it is. I mean, this just kind of goes to prove that you can put your car in autonomous mode, and it will drive you from coast to coast, and you don't have to be behind the wheel.
And it didn't hit anything or anyone.
In fact, the only thing that as Serge and I have been talking back and forth is that people were upset because it drove the speed limit.
Okay.
Including a couple of not so nice gestures to them, because the car, of course, is programmed to drive just this, or it will obey the speed limit signs.
The old Bronx salute, eh?
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
So that was probably the only thing that they had an issue with, is the fact that
pal, you're number one too.
So that's exactly right. So, but I think it's intriguing that we actually had a car drive coast to coast. It took 9 days. And, of course, they could have drove to 3,500 miles in probably 3 or 4 days if they drove hard days. But it was kind of a touring type of thing as well. So as people, they'd stop off at a parking lot and they would let people look at the car. So it wasn't like it was something that they pushed hard to have happen. They wanted to show the car off en route. So I think it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So, yeah. So are you anxious to hop in an autonomous car?
I'd like to try it.
Yeah.
I'm ready to try it.
I think it's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
So I look forward to the day. The biggest thing to me is the accidents. So if we can, lower that rate, and they're talking about over a 90% reduction in fatalities.
Yeah, that's great.
Huge. It's really a huge deal. So
yeah, people and pets and whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. Well, after the break, I think we're coming up on that here, aren't we, Jim? Okay. After the break, everybody, we will continue our discussion on autonomous vehicles and how it will change the way you travel. So come on back.
Right now, it's 32.
Get the traffic and weather information you need anytime on Super Talk 1270 and online at supertalk1270.com.
Follow the Guru of Geek at facebook.com/The Tech Ranch or Twitter at Guru of Geek or thetechranch.com. Here again is your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
And we want to thank all of our listeners across the country and around the world who join us on the Blueberry Network, on the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Of course, we're on iTunes, we're on the Roku, and our own app, Radio Pup. So all kinds of places you can catch the show later if you like. In studio, of course, Jim Walsh, producer extraordinaire, among many other talents.
I don't know where the geezer is. He's been in and out all morning.
Well, we can keep him out today. That's okay. Yeah. He's usually nodding off by this time anyway.
Pretty much. He usually just kind of curls up in the corner over there.
Exactly.
And, starts sawing logs big time.
Yeah. So we're going to get into autonomous vehicles again in a little bit, but of course I like to highlight different websites and things that I find, and I have to give a big shout out to a company that I've just discovered called New Web Hosting, and that's NUWEP hosting.com. I will have a link to this on the Tech Ranch as well. If you're looking to host a website someplace, if you need a VPS, dedicated server, what have you, New Web Hosting is a great place to go. And I can actually say that because I use them now. I switched over to them about a week and a half ago. Absolutely love their service. I've never actually had service where I can actually call in for a hosting service, and they actually answer the phone and answer my question right away. I'm not put on hold for 20 minutes.
Whoa.
And I know, it's absolutely amazing.
Your call is very important to us.
But not
2
really.
hours later.
Yeah, exactly.
Your call is very important to us.
They answer right away. I mean, and they pride themselves on that. So absolutely love this company, and their rates are amazing. You can host a website for $2 to $4 a month. Pretty amazing. If you need a dedicated VPS, it's in that $34 a month, I think it is. Maybe even a little bit less. So Jim's eyes are getting glossed over now when I say VPS. He has no clue what I'm talking about. But yeah, virtual private server for those who want something like that. But yeah, check them out. newwebhosting.com. Can't say enough good things about these people, and I'm sure I will bring them up occasionally again. But they are powering the TechRanch.com. So I love these guys, and I guess my whatever you want to call it, I am stating that I use them. So what does that mean?
Endorsement.
Thank you very much, Jim.
A personal endorsement.
Why is it that I'm having a problem thinking today?
I don't know. It's Monday. Well, the weather.
I stopped drinking caffeine.
Oh.
So maybe that's the deal, huh? My brain isn't, synaptics are not working like they should be.
Why did you give up the glorious bean?
Well, I'm not saying I'll give it up forever, but, but it's something I'm trying.
I mean, moderation. You should be okay.
Yeah, I suppose, but I don't do anything in moderation, and you know that.
Oh,
so.
yeah, that's true.
It's always either full bore or nothing. So
full tilt boogie.
Exactly right. So we're getting in talking about autonomous vehicles. This is part 4 in a series about the future of transportation. Of course, we have an event coming up in Bismarck, Mandan that Jim and I were talking about earlier on the sister station, Cool 98.7. I guess it's been leaked out to the AP today as well.
Yeah.
And in Bismarck, Mandan, North Dakota, I know we have people who listen to us across the country. But we actually have the AUVSI Roadshow coming here.
Now, is that the big announcement you were talking about last week?
It's not.
Oh.
The big announcement I'm talking about will be at the show itself.
Oh.
So, and that particular announcement, if we get it together before the show, will have significant economic impact in our region. And it's about high-speed transportation. Give everybody a little teaser there. Yeah. So you'll want to be listening, of course, because we're going to be broadcasting live.
Yeah.
May 18th, right from the show itself.
The Concorde is coming to Bismarck.
Exactly. So Jim and Miss Metaverse, who's flying in for this event as well, will be there, as well as myself. And sounds like we'll have a 2-hour broadcast going from 11 to 1. Is that what we're planning on?
That's the plan, 11 to 1 that day.
And so we'll be giving some commentary from the show itself, hopefully some interviews with some of the innovators, and maybe I'll get Jim to ride in that autonomous car that he's been talking about.
I would love to.
I wonder, can we work that out so that if you're in the car, can you broadcast live from the car?
I don't see why not.
We could just put you on with the cell phone, I suppose, and send it out.
If all else fails, put me on the phone.
Yeah. That would be interesting to do. We should try to figure that out.
We'll have to run that by our engineering guy.
Sure. Of course, we have an autonomous snowplow coming. So, and this is not
always a good thing to have.
Not a snowplow for roads. This would take the place of the snowblower you have in your garage right now. So what happens is
basically open the garage door and say, sick them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
get out there and do what it is you do.
Have you seen these vacuum cleaners that vacuum by themselves?
Oh yeah, they look like little flying saucer.
Yeah,
things,
exactly.
And they just kind of roll around on the floor.
And they're pre-programmed to do that. Think of that with moving snow off your driveway.
Yeah,
that's exactly how it would work. It would sense how much snow has come down, and it would actually deploy. Move the snow off of your driveway, go back to its little nesting area to charge back up again, and then when it snows again or whatever,
great.
It just goes out and takes care of it.
I wake up in the morning, turn the thing on, go back to bed.
Exactly.
And when I get up again, it's all done.
Yep, that's exactly right. And on the other side of that, I know we're getting a little off topic here again, but these are kind of autonomous car or vehicles, so we can talk about it. Autonomous mowers. There are now autonomous mowers that will be available. In fact, I better not say the name of the company, but there are, I think this year, you'll be able to purchase them. You have to put I forget what they're called, but like when you have pets and they put the electronic fence around, that's exactly what it is. you have to bury a wire that's similar to an electronic fence.
We actually have one of those set up here for the geezer.
Really?
Yeah, keep them from wandering off.
That's a good idea, actually. But this is how that works, and the mower will go out every 2 or 3 days or whatever, and keep that down. So that's pretty cool, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to start seeing a lot of these type of things. There is an autonomous robot that will follow you around to carry your stuff. And we're hoping to have that company here as well. What happens there is you can have this thing will carry up to 50 pounds for you. And it actually syncs with your smart device, and it'll follow like a couple feet behind you. So if you need to go grocery shopping or you need to move stuff around your home.
Like your own butler.
Yeah, it's basically what it is. And it's got a little cart on it, so you just put your stuff in this thing, and it'll just follow you around as you need it to.
I'll call mine Alfred.
There you go. There you go.
Let's go shopping, Alfred. Yes, Mr. Bruce.
Now, this autonomous snowplow, by the way, is actually a project being developed by NDSU.
Yeah.
Just some students over there, and they call it Thundar.
Thundar.
Which is, I think, the mascot for NDSU, correct?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I believe so. I
remember Thundar the Barbarian.
Okay.
Was a Saturday morning cartoon.
I do not remember that.
It's kind of a knockoff of Conan.
Okay. But that's what Thundar will be here for that. And if you need more information on the show, you can go to cnatca.com, synacta.com, and there's all kinds of information about the 3-day conference. And the rest of it is on trade and transportation, days 2 and 3, but the first day will be the roadshow part of it.
It's funny. I was thinking the other day about those cartoons, the old Looney Tunes, where you have the robot come out and the little robot hands come out with a whisk broom and the sweeping up the dust and everything. We're actually about to have that.
We are about to have that. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. One of the articles I was reading over the weekend talks about, we're on the verge of artificial intelligence. And
oh, boy.
Of course, a lot of people are taking a step back and thinking about, boy, if that actually comes about and...
Go rent 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Exactly. Yeah, they're talking about that.
See if you want to really put your life into the hands of this thing.
That's what this is all about, yeah. Do you really want to do that? And, of course, we talk a lot about the pros of autonomous cars and that type of thing. But overall, they say that when the production of technology surpasses the advancement of human beings, that's when you have to start worrying about, because they're going to start producing their own stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll have 3D printers now that print 3D printers.
Yeah.
You think about that. I mean, you buy a 3D printer just for the sole purpose of creating more 3D printers.
Skynet.
That's kind of scary when you think about it. So
you will be terminated.
Speaking of 3D printers, one of the things about maybe your new autonomous car will be that you will be printing your car in the future. So you will have a base.
Okay.
You have the framework with your tires and the brains to it. But if you want to change how your car looks, you just print a new one.
Oh.
So you have the new shell that you can snap down over the top of it. There are people that are talking about that possibility.
I love it.
So, you wouldn't have to replace your entire car. You just replace the shell to it. So, don't like the color? Print a new shell, and you get yourself a new color. So, and I would imagine that most people probably won't have printers large enough to print cars.
I was going to say it would take an awfully big printer.
Right. But there will be businesses that will invest in these. In fact, they figure in 5 years that 10 to 20% of the homes in the world will be printed. Homes. There are actually many companies right now that are working on these huge 3D printers. And after the foundation is poured, they just put the printer to work, and it actually prints your house.
I was thinking, you were talking about cars, I was thinking of the old Johnny Cash thing where he got it one piece at a time.
Okay.
Same kind of deal.
So, yeah, there's just all, and I know we're just kind of rambling on here today about the possibilities of how things are going to change. But these things are changing now, and...
Yeah, we're not talking about the future. We're talking about now.
We really are talking about now. And these technologies already exist. It's just a matter of how do you mold this technology into our society and into our everyday lives. And that's what they're trying to figure out right now. So, of course, Tesla, we talk a lot about Tesla on this show, too, the car manufacturer, Elon Musk's company, and 100% electric vehicle. goes up to about 270 miles between charges. By the way, the Tesla goes from 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds.
Not too shabby.
Are there any field vehicles that go to 3.3 that quickly?
Some of the real super high-performance cars, I'm sure, do.
That's pretty amazing, though, when you think about that. So, all right, everybody, after the break, we will continue our casual conversation on how the autonomous vehicle will change our lives. So come on back.
Right now, it's 32.
Your news leader, weeknights at 6 and 10. Super Talk 1270.
We're back to the Tech Ranch. Stream this program now at supertalk1270.com. Here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
And we're finishing up on part 4 of a series on the future of transportation. Producer extraordinaire Jim Walsh and I are kind of having a leisurely conversation, you could say, about how things are going to change.
We're falling out of our chairs here.
Well, it's Monday and we're tired, so it's why it's leisurely today, right?
I think the weather is a factor as much as anything.
Did you get out and do anything this weekend outside?
Not too much. Well, I mean, yesterday was Easter Sunday. We went for Easter brunch, I guess you call it.
Yep.
I had my banana pancakes. And,
were they pretty good this year?
Bacon and eggs, yeah.
Good.
Well, actually, what it was, this is something new. They make pancakes that look and taste like banana bread.
I bet that was good.
Oh, it's fabulous.
I love banana bread. It's one of my favorite things. So, yeah, we had Easter at our place both Saturday and Sunday. We went up to my mom's house, and it was actually snowing pretty good north of here yesterday. Oh. So, I mean, as in really, really good. So I was kind of surprised how much it snowed.
The white stuff, everybody.
Didn't stick too much, so it was warm enough for that.
I don't think it's going to stick. I mean, they're talking about an inch or less tonight, but I don't even think even that is going to stick.
I agree. I hope. Yeah, I agree. So, talking about autonomous cars, and we were just talking about, Jim asked me on the break here, if the big 3 auto manufacturers are getting into the game.
And basically you said they're kind of being dragged into it, kicking and screaming
all
the way.
Yep. And, you think about, as we talk about these, we talk about Audi and Mercedes, Volkswagen. Those are the companies. And, of course, you throw in Google, Tesla. I mean, these are not
traditional.
Yeah, I mean, Audi and Mercedes are huge companies, but they're not considered, the big 3, at least in the United States.
Yeah.
But GM and Ford and Chrysler are developing stuff. I think Ford is probably the leader of the big 3 with these technologies. But the reason for it is that of everything that I've read and studied on, that people predict that there will be a 43 to 90% reduction in new car sales because of autonomous cars.
The big 3 not going to like that.
They're not going to like that.
The unions probably won't like it either because it'll mean less work.
Right. So this is the challenge that they have. I mean, we're kind of at that paradigm shift again, where, back in the 1900s and 1930s, you've seen the demise of the person who shoot horses.
Salesman, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're not going to see the demise of car manufacturers, but it's possible that you might be tempted to buy a car from Google over Ford, or whatever. And I think this is what has them worried a little bit, is that there's a lot more competition all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. And Google has stated that they're not going to manufacture cars, but that doesn't mean that 5 years from now they're not going to get into it. I mean, they're one of the richest companies in the world. Why would they not? If they can see that they can make $1 at it. So that's the challenge that I think they have. Now, the 90% reduction, I just don't see that.
No.
I just don't see how that pencils out at all. But I do see a reduction. And one of the reasons, Jim, is, as we were talking about, I'll throw it back over to you for a second. About the, you can go to a one-car family again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And why would a person be able to do that?
Well, as we were discussing, again, during the break, for example, I can drive to work, and if my wife has a doctor's appointment, I can send the car back by remote control or whatever it is.
Right.
The car will drive itself back to the house, pick up my wife, and take her to the doctor, and then she can do what she has to do with the doctor, and then the car will drive her back. Let's say one of us goes in one day for outpatient surgery for something.
Sure.
And you're coming back, and obviously you don't want to drive under the influence of anesthesia.
Right.
When you come out of there, but that wouldn't be an issue.
Well, and you think about if you have school-aged children.
Sure.
You can deploy the car to pick them up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of reasons why. And I see that's where I see this reduction coming in.
Yeah.
People look at that and logically think, why do I need 3 or 4 cars when one car can go and do all the stuff that I need to do now? We don't have to have all the extra expense of the extra cars. So they say that there's going to be a reduction in that, but you'll actually drive. The cars will actually have 75% more miles on them every year. So if the average car is driving 12,000 miles a year right now, that'll move up to 19, instead, because you'll just get more wear and tear and more use out of it. So yeah.
I'm wondering where it's going to shake out, where the whole obsolescence question comes in.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see over the next couple of years.
How long would a car like that last?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
It probably, as far as mileage goes, will last a little longer than how you and I drive, because, you won't have the jackrabbit starts anymore.
Yeah.
There will be speed limits, so you're not, taxing the engine, so to speak. If a person likes to drive a little faster or what have you, it'll remind you and probably go in. I was just thinking about this the other week when I was getting my oil changed. It'll probably say, "Hey, it's time for an oil change," and you'll just say, "Okay, go get an oil change," and it'll actually go down to the dealership and get an oil change. So
by itself.
Yeah, by itself. So the service part of it, it'll probably take care of that for you if you wanted to. I mean, all these things are. So your car's going to last a little bit longer, I think, because of that. So
that's an idea.
Yeah. So all kinds of positive things that'll come out, and of course, the ability to, be able to text, to do all that other stuff while you're in the car. I mean, it really equates itself to, once you get in the vehicle, it's no different than being on a bus or an airplane. Once you get on there, you will actually have the ability to do whatever you want to once you get in the vehicle. So
just sit there, read, text,
whatever you want to do. I mean, it can be an enjoyable experience. You want to go out into
town, get drunk, you don't have to worry about driving home.
That's right. I mean, you think about the benefits of this. It's quite. I mean, the list continues to go on and on and on about what autonomous vehicles will bring to us. So, I mean, I look forward to the day. I mean, a lot of people have reservations about it. They don't want to give up control of their car. I mean, we talk about that a lot. The thing is, when you have an autonomous car, as of right now anyway, all you have to do is grab the steering wheel and you're driving it again. So you have control of it. But there are predictions about that in the future, it might actually be illegal for you to drive a car. So, you think about that. If you have an autonomous car, you won't be able to drive it yourself. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I don't know about that.
And what about all
they might have is designated areas for the people. It would be like people with horses now. You'll have designated areas for people who want to go. If you want to ride a horse, you go to this horse farm or whatever, and you ride it there.
So what about all these people who have classic cars? I mean, would they only be able to drive them in parades?
All the bikers, the Harley people. What would they do?
That's a good question. This is just somebody that was kind of thinking out loud. In fact, I think it was Elon Musk that had brought this up, that said, that someday you might actually see a time where driving a car might be illegal because the vehicle will just take care of itself. And the reason for that is the safety factor. I mean, 90% of all accidents are caused by human error. Yeah. And by getting rid of that, that's. But at the same time, I'm not a big person about adding new laws and all this other stuff. And
me neither.
That probably might be a little overreaching for a few people.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, any other thoughts on autonomous cars at all?
Yeah, I can see him. I can see somebody trying to outlaw it.
Sure. I can too, actually.
Yeah.
I think to start with, if somebody does, or at least introduces a bill, I don't see it getting through. I think it'll get shot down pretty quickly. But, over the years, as more and more people adapt to them and get used to them, maybe,
maybe.
It's hard to say. And you might be right. Maybe they'll have a lane on the interstate that is strictly for driven cars.
Yeah.
And the other lanes, around here, of course, that wouldn't be a big deal. But in metro areas, you might have just one lane.
Los Angeles, it would be crazy.
Wouldn't that be something?
So. Yeah.
You'd have one lane just for vehicles that are being driven by themselves, and the rest of them for autonomous cars, because they obviously get better, efficiencies and whatever. So it would be interesting, that's for sure. So getting back to the Delphi experience, just reading through some of the stuff. Should have read through this before. Okay, so major auto manufacturers in the world Audi, Mercedes-Benz, Nissan. Oh, there we go. Nissan is actually introducing a car with autonomous features in 2016. So the Nissan CEO, we will have an autonomous vehicle next year.
Now, does that mean this year in September?
That's a good question. So Nissan hopes to have a car that will navigate Japan's highways on its own next year, and the company plans to have a completely self-driving vehicle for urban areas by 2020. So that's 4 years away.
No, not that far away at all.
Wow. 4 years from now, Nissan will have a car that... So, and I think Japan doesn't have the kind of regulations that we have here for driving. And, of course, they have much more congested roads.
Oh, yeah.
Smaller. I mean, Tokyo, it's a small island.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's got to be a huge problem there. So, but anyway, and they're talking about the Audi in this article again, too. Travel from San Francisco to New York. 9-day trip, 15 states. 99% of the time, it was in fully automated mode. 99% of the time. That's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, and I would imagine, the only reason that it wasn't 100% was because they have to pull into driveways and parking lots and things like that. Probably aren't mapped, like in a Google Maps scenario or whatever yet. But that'll get better as we move along too. And you will always be able to take over a car, at least at this time. So if you're driving into your parking, your garage or whatever, you can do that. There's another car too that's just coming out. I'm trying to remember who it is, but they have a self-parking feature. And the self-parking feature is in your garage. So when you get home, it will park itself in the garage. And what's cool about this is that if you program it to do this, it will meet you at the curb the next morning. So it'll actually pull out of the garage. Let's say you leave your house at 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever. It will be running outside, and it'll be perfect for when it's 20 below around here.
Yeah.
It'll pull out of the garage, and it will be waiting for you, running and ready to go at
there
curbside.
You go.
So,
hop in.
Yeah, and you think about maybe not so much for home dwellers, but if you live in an apartment complex or something where your garage might be across the lot and down the way a little bit, and here it would meet you at the front door, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, well, that's kind of our situation where I live. Our garage it's not that far away, but it's far enough away. When it's 20 below, it's far enough away.
Sure. So it would meet you at the door and be all warmed up, ready to go.
Yeah.
So that would be pretty cool, actually. So, all right, everybody, after the break, we will continue our casual conversation today on the future of autonomous cars. So come on back.
Right now, it's 34 degrees.
Get the app called Radio Pup for your iPhone and take us everywhere you go. Bismarck and Mandan's own Super Talk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek everywhere he goes. Post your comments or questions at thetechranch.com. Once again, your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
Well, we're just wrapping up our four-part series. Jim, it's that lack of caffeine, I tell you. Hey, the geezer's back.
A little bit of geezer in all of us today with no caffeine.
Wow. So anyway, we're just wrapping up a four-part series on the future of technology. Jim and I are just having kind of a leisurely conversation on, how the future of autonomous cars are going to be affecting us. And I just came across a list, Jim, about the pros and cons of self-driving cars.
Oh.
So I'm going to read some of the things in this list, and then we'll just debate them a little bit, okay?
Certainly.
Okay, so the first thing, and these are consequences of, the safety part of it, but the first thing they talk about is that our insurance costs will probably go down.
I would think.
I mean, when you think about a 90 or more % chance or less chance of being involved in an accident, the insurance industry, I mean, our rates for, coverage on our cars are going to drop down dramatically, I would think. They may not drop as dramatically as what we're thinking because they may look at this as an opportunity to make a couple more dollars. I mean, a 90% reduction in your mind would be thinking that if I'm paying $1,000 a year for insurance, I'm going to pay $100 now, right? I mean, that's what you would think. But if they say, hey, your insurance is going to drop to $200 a year, you're still going to think you just pocketed $800.
Yeah.
And the insurance company is going to make basically another extra $100 off of you out of that, even though they're bringing in less dollars. So, I mean, it's all about perception. And I'm going to guess that's probably what's going to happen a little bit there.
It's like when the apartment development that you live in starts a rumor that the rent is going up by $100 on a certain date, and then the rent goes up $50, and everybody just kind of goes, whew, boy, okay, I'm glad it's only $50.
Right.
When in fact they knew it all along. They just did that. It's kind of a little Jedi mind trick they play on you.
So now this is interesting. The U.S. Department of Transportation actually assigns a value to each human life. Did you know this?
How do they do that?
I would imagine they look at the earning potential, the impact on economy, that type of thing.
Okay.
What do you think that number is?
Oh, it's not different for everybody?
No, well, they just averaged it out. So a human life is worth...
In terms of dollars?
Dollars.
Ugh. I don't know, $100,000?
$9.2 million.
One human being is worth
$9.2 million. Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, over the course of working 40 or 50 years and the other impacts that you have, on things.
Spending money.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
money.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So you think about this. We save 30,000 lives a year because we move to autonomous vehicles.
Yeah.
Times 9.2 million. I mean, the economic impact on the value of life in this country. I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
It's trillions of dollars.
Yeah. 200 and I'm doing the math in my head.
Okay.
I could be totally off, and I'm thinking something like
2.7 trillion?
Billion.
2.7 billion?
Or 270. I'm thinking 270 billion.
Okay. We'll have to figure that out.
It's a lot of money.
A lot of money, yes. So you think about the economic impact of saving 30,000 lives a year, and along with the economic impact of, I don't know how many people get injured in this country every year, but there are 33,000 people a year that get killed on our highways. So 90% reduction, I'm just estimating at 30,000, so we would save 30,000 lives, and I'm sure hundreds of thousands of injuries every year that end up in the hospital and whatever else because of that. So huge economic impact with autonomous vehicles when it comes to the reduction of accidents. So, okay. So Forbes, number 6 on the list, points out there's also cost savings associated with time. When a computer takes over the driving responsibilities, drivers can use that time to do other things, like catch up on reading, chat with passengers, or even some work,
Work?
So what's the average commute time in this country right now? It's over an hour, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know.
Not
around here. But...
Well, not around here. Well, no, that's not necessarily true. You and I do not have that commute time, but there's a lot of people around here who drive to our energy centers, our mines, and those are our 40, 60, 80 miles away.
Oh, yeah, the people who work in the oil fields
That's
who
right.
live around here and have to commute at least an hour.
At least an hour.
Okay.
So, I mean, you and I have it easy when it comes to that because we just drive across town a little bit. So
I'm just right across the bridge.
Exactly. But, if you could actually do some work while you're en route or whatever, huge time savings. I mean, even if you spent the time talking to your children, via video phone or something like that. I mean, there's just all kinds of things that the value of time is a huge deal when it comes to this. So one of the reasons that people like traveling by rail or by plane is simply because of the savings of time or the ability to do things while they're traveling. So, that's pretty cool. Disabled individuals. Imagine the freedom that they will have now if they're able to get out and have a car take them wherever they want to, not have to rely on somebody to have them move around. I mean, that's a big deal. It really is. So the ability, more freedoms for those individuals, I think would be fantastic. Over time, possibly higher speed limits. So, we talked about time again. Well, if your vehicle is capable of driving okay at 90 or 100 miles an hour, in autonomous mode, you can get there a lot faster, which I guess would be kind of cool as well. I don't know how I feel about traveling at 100 miles an hour on an interstate.
Well, if the reaction time of a computerized automobile that's driving itself, you would assume it would be faster anyway.
Dramatically faster.
Yeah, dramatically faster.
Yeah, right now, the car that I was in with Delphi, they figure that it makes 3 billion calculations a second.
Yeah.
3 billion. Now, it's possible that you and I have no idea how many calculations we make a second, but it's up there too.
Yeah.
But we don't have the sensory equipment to look behind us.
Plus, people get tired.
They do get tired, distracted.
There's all kinds of factors that can affect your reaction time.
Yep. And they talk about that in this list too, about distracted driving. number one reason that people have accidents now is because of distracted driving.
Yeah.
And, we lump into that texting, eating, scenic beauty. I mean, if you're driving by a butte or something like that, or a canyon, and you're looking over there, and all of a sudden the next thing you know, you run into it. Or on the other side, that accident that we had across the bridge, what was it, 2 weeks ago or whatever? Somebody pulled off to, I think they lost their dog or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And the onlookers,
dog, yeah.
all of a sudden there was accidents on both sides of the interstate because people were gawking at what was going on and running into cars that were in front of them,
Right.
You would have none of that going on because the only thing the car does is drive. It doesn't care about anything else at all. Nothing. Doesn't care if you're eating because it's not going to eat. Doesn't care about an accident going on. Doesn't care about that vista that's over to the right of you. I mean, these are things that distract you as you're driving. You can play with the radio all you want to because the car doesn't care. So that's pretty cool, too.
You can text.
Yes, absolutely.
You can read a book.
All of that stuff. The days of driving by somebody that's got the newspaper spread across the the steering wheel. I used to run across that all the time, driving up and down the interstate. People would be reading their newspapers. Wow. You think about that. That's kind of scary stuff. Drunk driving incidents will decrease. Massive savings could be recouped from being spent on older mass transit systems like trains because our roads become dramatically more efficient as well. Sensors in autonomous cars allow vehicles to ride closer together, allowing more cars to be on the road.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have that, what is it, 10 feet for 10 miles? No, it's more than that.
For every 10 miles an hour, they say a second.
That's right. That's correct. Yeah, it's not so much the number of feet; it's a second. And
so
nobody
like 60
obeys
miles,
that.
6 seconds.
6 seconds. You
measure it. You pick out a landmark, and they pass, and then you pass, and do that.
I was actually sitting in a parking lot not too long ago and doing this, and there was nobody on the interstate that was at 6 seconds apart from each other. 60 miles.
It's very rare that you see it.
Yeah, you just hardly ever see it.
Unless the weather's really bad, unless it's obvious that they have to slow down.
Right, exactly. Okay, some of the cons. Just the ability to operate a self-driving car would require the education on the driver's part. While the computer takes over the vehicle's operations, the driver would still be required to maintain some knowledge about how to operate it safely.
Yeah.
So you have a kind of a learning curve there on how to operate the car. The cost of implementing technology could add up to about $100,000 a car, although Tesla sells their whole car for under $100,000. So, and that supposedly is autonomous ready. So that number might be a little high now. All kinds of cool stuff. So I know we're getting to the end of the show here. We should probably talk about the upcoming event.
Yes, very quickly.
So SNACTA, of course, the Central North American Trade Corridor Association, has their AUVSI Roadshow coming to Bismarck Mandan, May 18th through the 20th.
And a grand time will be had by all.
We'll have a good time.
Now, do we know for a fact that the autonomous cars are going to be here?
Don't know for a fact yet.
Yeah, that was kind of suggested in the news story.
Right. We're working on that right now.
We're sure.
We're working on that Delphi car that went across the country, as a matter of fact. So hopefully we could have that there.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, it would be. And, of course, Vallejo has a car, and there's a few others that have them out there, too. So hopefully we'll have that here. So go to cnatca.com for more information on that. Jim? Pleasure talking to you today.
Always a pleasure.
We had a great time. So next week, everybody, we will get back to the regular scheduled program of talking about all other things tech. So come on back.
ABC News, Super Talk 1270. Accurate news, stimulating talk. This is KLXX AM, Mandan, Bismarck.